about 10 days later, I was able to strike a deal with Sedano's, through one connection or another. And I give him a call and I said, listen, man, one thing or another. And I said, listen, I got to sit down with Sedano's. So he kind of didn't hear. He's like, he keeps talking. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, I got to sit down with Sedano's. And I go, and I want to renegotiate. So he's like, oh. And I basically was holding the meeting hostage to renegotiate. So needless to say, we made our start. I got the percentage that I wanted to start with the ability to tier up. And we sit down with Sedano's. And it was a strong deal. I thought that we were going to get the deal based on the numbers we were presenting, but it just wasn't enough to move the needle for them based on the amount of work that they were going to have to do for us to implement. I was talking about 43 stores at the time for us to implement new point of sale across the board. The savings were in the multiple six figures, but it still didn't make sense, return on investment as far as time goes and whatnot. So, but I learned a lot. It was sales is a roller coaster ride, specifically this industry, because that would have propelled me to new heights, to say the least. But that's the way it turned out. It was a good learning experience.
What was it that the guy told you? He was like, listen, bro, last year we did $400 million.
Something like that, man. It was just crazy.
Last year we did $400 million, bro. You think we care about 300 grand,
Basically. Not in so many words.
That's crazy, bro.
Again, it was a hard lesson learned because I thought, man, this is a done deal.
Right.
And to see how the numbers fit at such a high level was a big wake-up call for me. You kind of need to go through that, especially to get to the bigger deals. It's happened to me already a few times. The big deals have a long sales cycle, so a lot can happen, a lot of decision makers. So I don't ride the roller coaster, or I try not to, at least. I try to stay even keel. Get a big account, lose a big account, try to stay even keel. It's hard sometimes, but I've gotten better at it. I don't go through months of depression anymore.
Bro, it's that's a common mistake that everybody, whether you're in sales and business, you ride that and up and down and up and down. And
especially when you really need it,
It's terrible. And it always falls through when you're like hurting, when you have money and it always works out, right? I got a fat check this month. Oh, I got another one. And then when you're flat broke, it's like, no.
That's when they're about, the thing is that, the moon, the way that it moves, and then, I'm sorry, you lost the deal.
Bro, terrible.
Yeah, what are you going to do, man? That's something I teach my guys now. I said, don't ride the roller coaster or try not to. And it's hard, man. You got to kind of earn your bones, It just comes with the territory. Sales and this kind of industry specifically where you're in this industry, you're one account away from retirement. You never know. You might get to a chain of this or a chain of that. Could pay you tens of thousands of dollars on a residual basis. Once you land a big deal like that, the chances of them switching off you are pretty slim. I mean, it may take many, many years. So, you land a big deal like that, you just made yourself several $1 million over a span of 10, 15 years. Who knows? By then you probably sold your book of business as it is anyway. So, that's the idea, man. You're always searching for that one. That's why the roller coaster drop is.
Hard. Man, the sharp turns.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really interesting, right? Like when you think about, so there's levels. However, at any given moment, as long as you're consistent, like your life can completely change.
Consistency is the key, brother. Again, sales, and I've learned, is a numbers game. Eventually, you will. It's not if you make money; it's how much and how fast, especially in this industry. That's entirely dependent on the person. That's why I tell you, persistence is key. Determination is key. Just keep at it. So keep at it, and you'll see results. And then as you improve in your skill set. Your closing ratio increases, relationships, the bigger deals. It comes natural with as you grow in knowledge, and just overall experience. You just start getting the big. And again, by the time, if you're doing the right, taking the right steps of your daily method, you build that sales pipeline, and eventually you start getting leads and deals without having to do much. On top of what you're doing, you obviously strategizing for future deals. You're landing 3 to 5 to 10 deals without having to do much, and that's beautiful because now it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, man.
And you're always just trying to fix that, and that's it.
It's always so. I think you remember this. Life is kind of like a pendulum, right? And you can't, for whatever reason, you can't force the pendulum to swing on the side of success. However, you can really force it to go on the side of failure. You can talk to as many people as you want, and you're going to get a lot of no's. You can make as many phone calls as you want, and a lot of people aren't going to answer the phone. You're going to send a lot of emails. No one's going to answer, right? And what you notice is the more you shove the pendulum on the side of failure, like the more you're willing to fail, the harder you're willing to work, the more uncomfortable you're willing to get. When the pendulum, whenever that is, it decides to swing the other way, it's massive, man.
Brother,
It's
that's well
massive.
said. I don't think I've heard that analogy before. That's,
Bro.
That's well said. You know,
It's
it's a very good way of saying that. And it's, you know, and expect it to come back, you know, so
and as
accepting
hard
failure.
and like as hard as it was to push it and that's how hard it's gonna come the other way and oh my god, wow. Yeah, man.
And that's what the seasons apply, I guess, too, because you'll see success and then you'll see failure and success and learning how to manage that and I guess damage control, also setting yourself right. But that's stuff that you learn throughout the time. One of the things, it's funny you say that, one of the things in this industry, you go through seasons, you know. You go through high season, low season, depending on the industries that you go after. And my first successful year, I didn't prepare myself for down season, you know. So based on the industries that I was going after, the majority of my book was made of these industries. When down season hit, I wasn't prepared for that. So I took like a 30 or 40% pay cut in the residual, and it was difficult to manage. Obviously, something that you learned, you know, which, you know, my partner had kind of talked about, but I was just so excited to be making money, especially passive, that, you know, I didn't really listen, you know, and I kind of did, but I didn't prepare for it. So I hit hard, and that's just part of it, brother. You know, dealing with that and maturing in that aspect.
There's a story that Darren Hardy tells, and it was I don't know how long, I think it was in The Compound Effect, where he says he realized that he couldn't control success, but he could control failure. So he had this little notebook pad, and he had 50 check boxes. He was in real estate. He was a real estate agent. And every day, he had to talk to 50 people. 50 people, bro. That's a lot, bro. So he was like, one day I would park at the end of a block and knock on every door. And if I got a yes, it didn't count. It had to be a no. So if someone was like, yeah, you know what, come in, come have some coffee, I would hate it because I had to sit there for an hour and close a deal, which was good, but like I wasn't closer to my goal. My goal was 50 no's. You know, he's like, man, I had dogs chase me. One time I got caught in the rain. Imagine we wear suits, you know. He's like getting rained on in a suit walking down the block. He's all kinds of crazy stuff happened to him. But until he didn't finish checking off the 50 notes for the day, he couldn't go home.
Termination.
And it was, he said, funny enough, you know, more people listed with me and more for sale by owners wanted to sell with me and more this and more this and more this. And at age like 22 or 23, he was the #1 real estate agent in the state.
Yeah, wow. Termination.
And it's and it's all because he was like, you know what, bro?
This is my goal.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah, man. No doubt. And it's all about the law of averages, like a closing ratio, like you said.
It is. It really is, man. I mean, the more work you put in, the more results. And it's just putting the work in.
Yeah, more than anything, bro.
It seems to be the common denominator. You know,
you have to like trick yourself to like doing the tedious like tasks that no one likes to do. You know, that Mike Tyson says it best. Discipline is doing the things you hate like you love them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well said. I've read down before, and that's. Let me tell you. Sometimes I fall into wanting to spare some of my new guys from that, and I have to really sit back and analyze that, especially at moments like this where you're like, man, that's what makes you. That's what prepares you for the future in sales. You know, you kind of, especially new guys that don't have much sales experience, where you see potential and they kind of want to make this work, but. You kind of got to let them hit the wall and let them make the mistakes so that they can harden up for it. Where if you shield them and spare them too much from the disappointments,
they're not going to toughen up.
Yeah, they're not going to toughen up, and you run the risk of losing them anyway. You know, so little cliches like you can lead a horse to water, you can make them drink. Little things like that, they really do. They make a lot of sense
they do, man.
When you really start to analyze them. So you got to kind of let guys fail and make mistakes and really see what it's like to be able to prepare them for longevity. Yeah, in sales, period, just sales. But this industry, man, listen, I've seen a lot of, and I've had the blessing to be able to meet with, again, I service other businesses. So I've seen dentists and I've seen mechanics and I've seen all types of, nightclubs, you name it. I service the industry and I've seen what it takes, all sales all the time. But just salesmen per se and W-2 guys or whatever the case, it's a hard industry, man, because it's all, especially, it depends on what office you were board with, but this is all commission-based, So it takes a special individual to dive in and say, all right, I'm gonna plant my flag here and get it done. I'm just going to get it done, no matter what it takes, no matter what struggles I got to go through. It was tough, man, in the beginning to really do that and have very little saved up to that cushion, you know, that cushion to be able to, all right, it's going to take me at least 6 months to see some sort of significant income to cover my bills. If you don't produce in those 6 months, what are you going to do the next 6 months? Because it takes about 45 days for you start to see a check from any business anyway. They got to process 30 days. And then, so man, being able to put in enough deals that stay with you, that stay processing, that have significant volume, on good rates, all of that good stuff, all the variables that got to kind of come into play for you to see, good income or enough income to sustain yourself. It's difficult, man. So it's a great industry, but it's a tough one to really make yourself successful if you don't do things right.
For sure.
If you don't stay determined.
Man.
If you just hang it up after making a few calls, you're not going to last long.
What I love about sales and entrepreneurship is that it really it's almost like a mirror. Like you really see your imperfections. You really see how you react in really bad situations and in really good situations too. It exposes who you are as a person to your core. And most people, instead of getting that imperfection and being like, all right, this is where I'm weak. You know what? I can work on this. Let me get better. A lot of people just quit. They're like, they can't take it that's the truth and it's in their face.
Oh, yeah.